Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Life is But a Dream. My name's Adriana, and I am here with a very special episode today. Today, we're going to be talking about the Enneagram personality types, or what we're going to discover, ego types. And I have the perfect person here to talk about it with, and that is actually my best friend of 12 years, 12 years this August. So, special time for us. I'm here with Nadi.
Hey everybody, it's your girl Nadi. How are you? Thanks for coming.
All right, so that was the last personality type for the feelings triad.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to the next triad, which is the thinking triad.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one to kick it off is type 5, known as the investigator or the observer. So their core fear is being helpless or overwhelmed. Their core desire is to be competent and in control. Their key motivation is to feel safe through knowledge and privacy. Common attitudes and behaviors would be analytical, independent, withdrawn, and ego strategy is retreats to conserve energy and avoid neediness. And their healing direction would be to reconnect to body and practice vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
And some examples of, or a pop culture character to reference would be Lisa Simpson.
Yeah, I can see that. I also want to say Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs is a good one.
Yeah.
Who from New Girl?
I don't think anyone on New Girl's type 5. At least from my understanding, like type 5s are the types that I'm going to describe one of our best friend's little sisters.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say her name because she's still a child and she's still in high school, but she is so. So what it says, like like how they grew up is like they find their way in the world by identifying with like knowledge and stuff, and so we all have like an inside joke that she's like the smartest person on earth because she really is. Like she's literally pursuing like engineering right now in high school, and I think she's a junior. Like she is seriously one of the smartest people, but like they become so smart and so ingrained into one thing. What's his name that writes those books? Those like the author of It.
Stephen King.
Yeah, he would be like a good example of type 5s. Like they get so fixated on one topic, one subject, and they learn everything about this subject, and they just like continue to kind of draw into themselves and become more isolated, and they just focus on this subject, and they find value in themselves by being so knowledgeable of that one subject. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh, like my brother's a type 5. I would say, like I said, that the young girl, she's a type 5. Like there's so many type 5s. Like that person that you're like, they are really, really smart and nerdy, but they're like kind of low key and quiet. It's them. It's them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I see a lot of type 5 in me as well, because as you guys know, type 4s have a wing, 5 and 3.
Yeah.
And so it's just so interesting because you do see yourselves in every one of these personality types because we're all human.
Yes. We all have all 9 in us.
Yes.
There's just one that is operating in first gear, or I don't know cars. Let me not even say that. It's in the pilot seat.
Yes. It's the one that took control.
Yes.
In order to survive.
Yeah.
Or to feel safe.
Right.
All right. So the next one is the loyalist, type 6, otherwise known as the skeptic. So their core fear is being unsafe or without support. Core desire is to feel secure and prepared. Key motivation is to find stability and predictability. common attitude and behavior is loyal, anxious, suspicious, prepared. Their ego strategy is to avoid fear through control and loyalty. And their healing direction is trust, inner guidance, and embrace uncertainty. And some examples of this in pop culture would be Katie Heron from Mean Girls.
Oh.
And Ben Wyatt from Parks and Rec. I've never seen that show.
I wouldn't know enough about either of those characters to be able to say.
Katie, I definitely see it from Mean Girls. So
I'm trying to think of which one's Katie. I'm sorry.
Lindsay Lohan.
Oh,
yes.
Jumbo. I'm sorry. I'm not the
pop
I'm not the
reference.
reference girl. I told you the only show I watch is New Girl. Like that's it.
Okay.
And Hamilton.
But no, I definitely see it in Katie Heron. So Katie Heron from Mean Girls is the type 6 Enneagram, and I'll tell you why. So as we know, type 6s, they grew up in a living condition or with the experience that they feel unsafe. And so, you know, she was like on the Sahara in Africa, lions, tigers, not bears, but, you know, just all that craziness. And so maybe with that, she just felt really overwhelmed, or I don't know. But we also see that in the movie, you know, brand new to this American school. And she literally is there's that scene where she views other kids, or like, you know, when they're at the mall, and she is just so much chaos. Like she starts viewing people as animals from her childhood, and how there's just a lot and it's overwhelming. And, you know, she doesn't feel very safe with all these lionesses coming at her. But she sticks with her loyalty. She sticks with her loyalty to her, even if it's fake, to stay safe with Regina and the Mean Girls, because she knows that that's where she'll have the most safety.
Yeah.
Which is very, very interesting. But she also kind of keeps her loyalty towards Janice. Yeah. But we come to learn, you know, as we know, that kind of falls, and she kind of shakes up her loyalty a little bit. And so that's where she has an identity crisis.
Yeah.
So
this type I think it says in the book that type 2s and type 6 can come off very similarly because of their loyalness, you know, because of the way that they're always like ride or die. And for some reason there's a big like thought process that most people are type 6. I do not believe that, but there's a lot of people who would argue that most people are type 6 because we have such a loyal mentality to people, and we are so like kind of afraid of what people are thinking, always kind of a little paranoid. Like some people can come off that way. I'm gonna be honest though, I haven't met a lot of type 6.
Yeah, I feel like type 6s are a very strong personality type that for me, I feel like I can identify pretty easily, just because like they're also very like black and white when it comes to people. You're either with them or against them.
Yeah.
There isn't any in between.
Yeah.
They're the most anxious out of all the types, which is very interesting because their exterior don't always show it.
Right.
But in the way that they move, you can tell, because they can be a little bit of a controller. They can kind of come from anxiety-based instincts. They have very anxious instincts.
Yeah. Type 6 are so like in the thinking triad, the type 5 overthinks, the type 7 underthinks, which makes them very intrusive. You know, they don't think, they just move. And type 6 are the most disconnected from their thinking, so they attach to people who are very grounded. It even says in the book that type 6 are the most likely to join the military because there's so much structure, there's so much like guidance and everything. They don't have to think because they're the most detached from thinking, you know? So that's why kind of like they're so afraid and kind of like so like rigid. We got to follow the rules. We got to do this, because they don't trust themselves enough to think.
I love that.
Yeah.
See, that's why I have her on this episode, because she
This
has
is a good
great memory.
Yeah, this is a good refresher for me. I was telling
Yeah.
Adrian, I was like, we need to like do a refresher, but
Like, nah, you got it. We got it.
Yeah.
So the next Enneagram is the type 7, which is the enthusiast, also known as the adventurer. So their core fear is being trapped in pain or boredom. Core desire. I see it.
That is so funny.
Core desire is to be happy, fulfilled, and free.
Yes.
Key motivation is to avoid discomfort and limits. Common attitudes and behaviors: playful, impulsive, optimistic, or scattered. Ego strategy is escapes pain with pleasure and plans. Healing direction would be to embrace stillness, commit to depth. And some pop culture characters would be Jack Sparrow or Maddie
I can
Perez
see that.
from Euphoria.
Oh, Maddie. I love that.
Wow. So,
I don't know if I agree with Maddie.
right. I don't know. I don't know about that. We'll see ChatGPT.
Because she's very image.
very image focused.
Very image focused.
Yeah.
Like
I was
would
thinking maybe 4.
Yeah, I would probably put her as a 4. Maybe even a 3.
I see that too.
Because she's very like success driven, and like she's the best cheerleader. She always talks, she's like has to be the best at sex. Remember her whole episode and all that stuff. And she even says in the episode, I think she's 3, because she says in the episode, she's like, when she went to the nail shop, she seen, I think it was her mom that was doing the nails and stuff, and she's like, I refuse to be that person. But that could also be 4. That could also be 4. But I refuse to be the person doing the nails. I will be getting my nails done.
Right.
But I can definitely see Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, this type to me is, they are the friend, you know, those like the unemployed friend, and they FaceTime you and they're like on Mount Everest. Like they are always doing something, always spending some type of money, like living the most adventurous life that they can live, and they are easily bored. Like I thought that was so funny when they said that.
So one of the biggest real life examples that I had that was right in front of me was one day I was working shipment. I worked at Victoria's Secret, and this was early in the morning, so we all had our headphones in. And then all of a sudden my manager, he is like, dang, do you guys ever feel like when everyone has their AirPods in that you're missing out on some cool song or a cool podcast and you're just left alone in your boredom or something like that? I was like, oh my gosh, that is a type 7. And that's so true, because he is such an enthusiast and he just has such a big personality, and he's always moving around. He's always being the life of the party. I was like, wow, that is a type 7 right there. So if you have anyone in your life that you feel like
can't sit still,
larger than life, always got something going on, always has to be doing something, you know, they'll plan a trip to the Eiffel Tower, and once they get to the Eiffel Tower, they'll already be planning on where they're going to go to lunch. And when they go to lunch, they're not going to be sitting there and enjoying it. They're going to be thinking about the next event that they're going to be doing. So they really get to learn. That was the biggest
like thing that they said in the book, is like they leave a lot of things open.
They get to learn to be present.
Yes.
A little insight. Enneagram type 7, the enthusiasts often have a trauma or early emotional wound tied to the fear of being trapped in emotional pain, deprivation, or limitation. So they made up the core belief that it's not safe to feel pain. I'm on my own when it comes to getting what I need. And so as children, 7s often experienced emotional pain, neglect, or inconsistency, especially around having their needs met, whether physical, emotional, or psychological. So from what I'm hearing is that they want to avoid that pain, they want to avoid that neglect, and so they keep busy in their minds because they don't want to fall into those low emotional patterns that they had experienced when they were younger.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way to describe it. Like those people that just always stay busy to avoid those emotions. So I agree when it says that one of the things they get to do to be healthy is to connect with connect with deepness and people and authenticity and all that stuff. As a type 7, you get to connect, and but they are the lives of the party. They're the ones that are probably on the table. Oh, we should do like a video like of what each, like if it was a party, what each personality type would be doing. Type 2s would be in the bathroom with the girl throwing up.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yes.
Or type 1s will be trying to get everyone to calm down and be quiet, or else the cops are gonna come.
Yes, monitoring everybody's drinks.
3s will.
Type 3s, like Schmidt, would have thrown the party, but it needs to go their way.
Yeah, it has to be the biggest, most extravagant,
and it needs
party.
to be about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is a birthday party for the type 3.
Yes.
Or a type 4 is going to be in the corner doing their own vibe, doing their own thing.
They're probably sitting on the couch.
Yeah, probably sitting on the couch chilling.
Yeah.
Type 5.
If they're at the party.
If they're even at the party.
If they're even at the party. The type 5 is probably at the game table or something.
Yeah, at the game table, maybe playing with the pet.
That's the dog or something.
Type 6 is
right next to the type 3. To me, they're right next to the type 3.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, they're like, because the type 3 is making the rules for the party, and type 6 is ride or die. Like
about the rules, making sure everything's good,
hyping up the type 3.
They're very anxious, so they're just alert on everything. Type 7s dancing on the table, having a great time, telling everyone to take shots.
Yes, and they have another party to get to. Yes.
Type 8s.
What would the type 8 be? The type 8 is the person at the party fighting.
Ooh.
They're the ones being held back. I'm about to fight. We're going to fight. That's what the type 8's doing. The type 9 is the one holding them back
from the peacemaker. Fight. Hey, everything's fine. Good vibes. Let's be chill. Yeah, that's everyone.
Yeah, that's all of them. Yeah. Okay, video summed up.
So if you feel like you're the life of the party and you feel like you might have some opportunity in reflecting into your own emotions, being at one with yourself, being present, you might be a type 7. If you are, let us know. Next Enneagram is the type 8, otherwise known as the challenger or the protector. Core fear is being controlled or betrayed. Core desire is to be strong and in control. Key motivation is to protect themselves and assert power. Common attitudes would be assertive, bold, confrontational, and protective. Their ego strategy is to avoid vulnerability by dominating. Healing direction is to trust softness, allow tenderness. And pop culture characters would be Miranda Priestley from The Devil Wears Prada, or Kat Stratford from 10 Things I Hate About You, which I've never seen.
I have 2 that everyone will know.
Period.
Number 1, Martin Luther King was a type 8.
Ooh, really?
It says in the book.
Healthy type 8.
So period. Everybody's favorite orange man in the Oval Office, Donald Trump, is a type 8.
Wow.
So that is a very clear image of how you can see what ego does.
One example of that from a show, it's from what's it called? All American.
All American, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
A type 8 that I always think of when it comes to a character is from All American. What was his name again? Wait, Spencer, was he the main
the
one?
main character? Yeah.
Mr. Captain Save-A-Ho. That's one of the biggest things that I think of when it comes to a type 8, because type 8s, they had the parental experience of feeling that they had to step up in their role as a kid and be mama's little soldier.
Type 8s are very, like, think of Major. like type 8s are very sure of themselves. They're kind of like, well, one, they're really angry. But that triad, that instinctual triad, is driven by anger, versus the thinking triad's driven by fear, feeling triad's driven by being ashamed or feeling shame. That triad, instinctual, is driven by anger, and so
Spencer is very angry, though.
he can be.
He's very, or obviously type 1s are as well.
Yeah. But the reason why, the thing about type 8s, and which could apply to Spencer as well, is like, they, no matter what they're doing, they need to be the best and they need to be in control, which is a lot like Spencer James. Like, they are very, like, even if they were the janitor, they're going to be the best janitor. They're going to put themselves like at the point where nobody can criticize them, nobody can comfort them. If you do, you better be able to fight. Like I said, they're at the party and they are the ones fighting. They're the ones that are angry. Yeah. Type. Yeah.
Spencer James.
Yeah. Yeah. He was very hot-headed. And so I agree.
And with his parental experience, too, it just makes sense.
They're the protectors. Like, I agree with that description of them. And it's really funny because when type 2s are unhealthy, they present as type 8s. Like, type 8s are very aggressive and stuff like that. I would say, like, maybe a manager at work, and I read type 8, and I honestly got sick. Not because I related to it. There are things, when you're unhealthy as a type 2, you present as an 8. And we'll talk about that more. But when I read it, I got sick to my stomach because it described this man to the T. To the T. And that was part of the reason I left that job. Because I was like, ooh, that toxic, like, no one's better than me anger it's not just anger, it's rage, and it's eruptive, and it's just like every day felt like it's, but they're not just angry people. Like, they definitely get the job done. I find myself attracted to type 8s, which is crazy.
I did,
Yeah, because it's like, that you will be taken care of, that you'll be protected, you'll know that if you're with an unhealthy man, that he gonna fight for your ass. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe not the best way to look at it, but.
So, if this sounds like you or someone that you know, let us know down in the comments. DM us. Let's have a conversation.
Yes. And calm down.
Cálmate, por favor.
Please.
So, the next Enneagram is the type 9, known as the peacemaker or the mediator. The core fear is conflict and disconnection. Core desire is to feel peace and inner stability. The key motivation is to avoid conflict and tension. Common attitudes and behavior is easygoing, agreeable, passive, and forgetful. Ego strategy is numbs out to maintain harmony. Healing direction is speak up and take up space. Love to hear it. And pop culture characters would be Lana Del Rey aesthetic, Pam Beasley from The Office. I haven't seen The Office.
I love that.
Or Bella Swan from Twilight. I don't know.
Bella? That's why her ass was in that room for so long.
So yes, the peacemakers. And I feel so much for the peacemakers because
I'm glad you do.
Because we get to acknowledge that they come from a very overwhelming household that comes with a lot of conflict. Maybe not always a whole household, but they felt that they were constantly put in between two parties.
Yeah, their mom and their dad.
Constantly put in between maybe siblings, put between, etc. Grandparents, wherever the case may be. And so they're just looking for peace. They're just looking for peace and quiet. They're looking for everyone to get along. And so, they really do disconnect from themselves because they just want harmony in peace in their outer world and in their inner world.
Yeah.
So they just connect a lot.
Yeah. So back to our new girl references. This type 9 is, you can see it in Nick and you can see it in Winston. A big thing I want to acknowledge about type 9s is they, when unhealthy, they become neglectful. So that's kind of why you can see in New Girl, type 9s are the people, or Nick becomes, the dirtiest character, but then when he's with his family, he's kind of the one that is, a contradictory towards his role that he plays when he's not with his family. He's the one that's the most balanced, most stable. He's keeping a cool head when he's with his family until he leaves that one episode. But yeah, it's really funny because type 2s find themselves with type 9s, like Jess and Nick did, because type 2s are like, keep going, take care of yourself, I'll take care of you, I'm gonna help you. But type 9s are like neglectful for their partners, for their family, for even their children, which is unfortunate because everything tends to stress them out. They'll procrastinate, they'll do all these things when they become unhealthy because, like Adriana said, they just want to keep the peace. So instead of maintaining that, maintaining everything, they'll start to neglect it. They'll start to procrastinate a little bit. So yeah, I agree. I feel for type 9s too. And it's unfortunate because it even says in the book that not only will the type 9 abandon himself, but and I have one more thing I wanted to say about them too. But not only will a type 9 abandon himself, but people also tend to abandon type 9s because that neglect that they start showing for themselves and everything around them, like, I don't want to carry you anymore, almost like I don't want to sustain you anymore, so I'm gonna like fall back. But something interesting that I heard is that the way that the Enneagram is shaped, type 9 is at the top, and it's kind of connected to all of the other Enneagram personality types, because type 9s, not only do they keep the peace, but they replicate the person that they're around. So, if they're with a type 3, they're going to try to emulate the type 3 or type 2 just so that they can keep the peace and fit in and be seen as like, cohesive rather than like apart.
I see that in some of our type 9s.
I know, I see it too. And they get frustrated. That's the thing too, is they get upset when they've spent so long not being themselves that they eventually kind of have like a moment where they're like, I've had enough. And they get upset with the people around them, but it's like, no one asked you to do this. No one asked you not to be yourself. But that's what they felt they needed to do to survive, to kind of acclimate and adapt towards the personalities that they're around. So I thought that was really interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
All right. So last, but certainly not least,
kind of my favorite type,
is our type 1 Enneagram.
Yes.
They are known as the reformer or the perfectionist. Their core fear is being bad, wrong, or corrupt. Their core desire is to be good, ethical, and right. Key motivation is to improve self and others. Common attitudes and behaviors is principled, critical, and disciplined. Their ego strategy is earns love through perfection and control. Healing direction is embracing imperfection and softness. And some pop culture characters would be Spencer Hastings from Pretty Little Liars or Captain America.
Yeah.
Or from New Girl. Is there one?
I don't know if there's a
Probably
type
not.
1 in the main cast.
I can't think so either.
If anything, no, I don't think. No, actually, I don't really think. But this is the superhero. Like they said, Captain America, Batman. Type 1s, I would say they're my favorite, not for any special reason other than because Sean is a type 1. And it just makes me laugh so much because when a type 1 is type 1ing, you're like, okay, we get it. You know what I mean? They are seen as the type that has the highest morals. They're the angel of all the types, and they can never do anything wrong. And it's just unfortunate because type 1s are kind of rebellious. Like, because they hold themselves to such a high standard, when they become unhealthy, they start to do things that are a lot more rebellious. Which is it's just so funny because they're the only ones holding themselves to that standard, but that's how they grew up. They grew up in such a strict environment that the only thing that felt safe to them was to be right and to rid the world of all the wrong. And that's just how they felt safe. It's like, okay, I need to always be perfect and in line. And what makes them mad is that all the other 9 personality types are not like that. Mm-hmm. Like, all the other personality types kind of get away with the type what the type 1 would have never gotten away with. Type 1s are kind of the people like, I would have never gotten away with that, or like, I don't know. Type 1s they're just so funny to me.
So I think one of the biggest breakthroughs for type 1s is realizing that there is no such thing as right or wrong.
Yes.
It's just what works and what doesn't work for you. And because, when you do have that mentality that this is right, this is wrong, then, you have a tendency to absorb like a superiority complex. Mm-hmm. You project a lot of judgment onto people. You have a lot of judgment on yourself because if you don't perform to your idealized self, then you beat yourself up.
Yes.
And, the way you do to yourself, you do to others. So, like I said, judgment for others. And so just realizing that, there is no such thing as right or wrong. That conceptualization of what is right or wrong came from some source that doesn't know how would you say that? Because like wherever they're getting these ideas on what's right or what's wrong, just like all morals, they stem from humans. Yeah. Or fear, and that's not always reliable, and there's different opinions, and there's different ways of living that do work that might be opposite from what they believe is right. And so that's just an endless loop of not feeling good enough, not feeling like other people are good enough, and so you push people away. You push yourself away from yourself.
You become controlling, and I think it even says in the book that type 1s, like a lot of people who grew up in really strict religious upbringings, kind of become type 1s where they're very, very afraid to break those religious rules or anything because they're like, if I step out of line,
I'm going to be wrong.
I'm going to be bad. I'm going to be, you know what I mean? And so I definitely agree with you. Like, there's no such thing as right or wrong. But also surrender that control, surrender the need, because you will feel so much more liberated and so much less like you need to punish yourself when you do actually just, let loose a little. Have a little bit of fun. But yeah, like I said, they are usually the most morally driven. Yeah.
And what's interesting when it comes to religion is that they typically either run towards it for that sense of stability, that sense of right or wrong. Like, see, someone knows what's right or what's wrong. Right. Someone's holding people accountable.
Right.
Or they run away from it because they're tired and exhausted of living up to those standards. Right. And they feel like they're not in control, and they just want that sense of control. It makes them angry because they feel like someone else's ideals are being projected onto them. And if they have different ideals, then they just want to run away from that and do their own thing and be in control.
Yeah. Yeah, what else can we say about type 1s? When you think, just think of superheroes. Think of Superman. Think of type 1's mission is to bring justice to this world, to cleanse the world. It's so funny. My ex used to say that all the time. Like, if I can just cleanse the world of evil and all that stuff. And it just literally would crack me up, because it's like, baby, you can't cleanse the world of evil like the way that you want to go about it. You know what I mean? And like,
you gotta cleanse yourself.
You gotta cleanse yourself 100%. And then also, like, you can't control nobody. You can't control nobody and force them to do your moral beliefs or values. You just can't do it that way.
You can't do that. But imagine how powerful it would be if you inspired people to do it.
Inspired them to do it. And I think that's what it says in the book, is like, type 1s will be free if they let go of perfection and just accept Mel Robbins' theory. Let them. Yeah. I guess if you relate to that a lot, or you know anybody that relates to that, definitely comment. Because, I don't know, hopefully you get a laugh out of it too. I find that in all of these personality types, like, once you learn more about them and you can start seeing them in yourself, you start seeing it in other people, it becomes funny. So yeah, now that we've explained all of them, I think the biggest thing is, like, don't get attached to what all of these are. Because this really just isn't you. And like we said before, no personality type is better than the other. So it's not something that you need to weaponize. It is definitely something that you get to be using for self-discovery. You know, use this for a way to literally identify the ways that you're showing up in your own life and decide whether it's working for you or not. Now that we know the nitty-gritty details of these personality types, we're going to talk about personally how knowing this information gives us an opportunity to introspect and change our own lives.
Yeah, since I found out how I tend to go into a type 4 defense mechanism, my biggest opportunity, I feel, is getting outside of my head. That is something that really resonates with me, is that I will stay in my head. I will overthink things. I will try to be a perfectionist. I will try to, I will just go into analysis paralysis. That is one of the biggest things that I realize that I do, is that I literally just stop, because I feel like whatever I end up producing is going to be a reflection of me and a reflection of who I am, but it's not. That is something that I have done or created, but that's not all who I am. It's just a process. It's just what I decided to create in the moment. So, my biggest opportunity is to get out of my head.
As far as knowing that my ego identifies as a type 2, like, the biggest opportunity I have is to connect and be vulnerable. It's crazy because type 2s want vulnerability, crave vulnerability so bad, but we are disingenuous about it. I'm scared to connect because I don't want to be rejected. I'm scared that if I'm not performing, that people aren't going to love me. And so it's really funny because I see myself now. I'm like, okay, I'm not performing. I'm not doing it. I'm not going out of my way. I'm releasing and surrendering that part of myself that feels I need to be super Nadia in order to show up and feel loved in my relationships. So that's my biggest opportunity, is actually connect and be vulnerable, not just with my friends and family, but also with myself. Type 2s, we are afraid to be selfish and just be vulnerable, get to know and love Nadia and connect with myself and everybody.
So one way that knowing my Enneagram has really healed me and brought a lot of peace to me, actually, was, as type 4s, we think that we're broken or our mind is a special kind of fucked up. Like,
Yeah.
we feel like we're so alone. We feel so lonely. We feel like we're the only one going through this. And so to read the book and have all of my inner thoughts conceptualized, it was really validating. It was really validating because I was just like, wow, I guess I am human and other people experience this. And this is measurable. This is, a result of something that did happen, that it's fact. My analytical side of my brain just really ate that up. That type 5 wing of mine really ate that up. I was like, okay, good to know that I'm not some extraordinary case, that what's been going on in my mind is, something that only I deal with, that this is something that many, many, many people deal with. So
Yeah.
that was very healing for me because I stopped feeling so different and I felt seen, I felt heard, and that's what a type 4 needs. So, yeah.
I think that knowing my personality type has empowered or healed me really through recognizing that I get to give the love and care and effort that I give to everybody else and really pour it into me. Like, my goals, my relationship goals this year have been so involved with Nadia, and honestly, like, the boundaries that I've set for myself and everything, like, has really, I was like telling Adriana, like, I don't even text anybody anymore. I don't got nowhere to go. I love sitting here, like, eating my microwave quesadilla and just having a good time because that's what Nadia loves to do. And just journaling and all that stuff, just really, healing that relationship with myself. That's been so powerful. That's something that I'm enjoying. And also, by reading this book and seeing the ways, because type 2s kind of become delusional. I'm not doing anything bad. Don't look at me. I'm not doing anything bad. And so being able to call out myself and say, are you being manipulative? Are you being controlling? Are you going after a specific outcome so that you can feel loved? Or, like, what is your real intention for doing this? And um, literally, my voice is like, my throat chakra is like, don't say it, don't say it. But being able to say, Nadia, girl, you are fucking up. You're being manipulative. You're being controlling. You're not connecting. You're not being vulnerable. I am changing. I am changing. I am changing. I am changing. I have to say that. Touch your throat chakra. But yeah, just being able to connect with myself and call out those toxic traits has been healing and empowering. Yeah.
Your throat.
My throat's like, no,
Don't
say
tell our
it.
secrets.
Don't tell our secrets. Don't say that about us. But it's true. Type 2s can be very manipulative. We can, because we don't think we deserve love. We don't think that we deserve, kindness and connection with people. So we kind of try to force people to give it to us. And it's crazy because I can see it when I do it, or I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones when I want to do it, to people. And I'm like, okay, are we inspiring? Are we coming from a place of inspiration? Are we coming from a place of desperation? You know what I mean? Are we going to create connection, or are we going to create control? What's the goal here? You know what I mean? And also, type 2, like myself, like it said, learn to receive. And that's something that has been really great that I've been able to learn too.
Yeah.
Is learning to receive, learning that I don't need to be in control or have high expectations of what I'm going to receive from people. Like, be grateful from what I am receiving. And yeah, because I'm loving, and people acknowledge that, and I get to receive it.
I love that. And what's so beautiful too is to really name all the different things that we've learned and come into, and all the ways that we've grown, and it's so measurable with the Enneagram.
Yeah.
And especially, like, we've known each other since 8th grade middle school.
Yes.
And so now that we're 25,
yeah,
knowing the more unhealthy ways of being, or the different
Yes.
ways that don't work, and seeing that in each other growing up, and then, like reflecting back on it through studying the Enneagram, you really just see the growth that's happened. And for your best friend to see that, it's so beautiful. And
you really
so
do
powerful.
see the transformation. You do.
And it's again just a great way to measure your growth. It's a great way to measure other people's growth. Not that you're measuring it to hold it against them or anything, but just to acknowledge it and just to give some props in a very specific, deep way.
That reminds me to say that the Enneagram even says it in the book that you're not like at one stage in your life. You're always fluctuating. So maybe like right now you're super, super healthy, but maybe like in a few days you're like super unhealthy. You know what I mean? You're constantly up and down that scale based on how situations, based on how you react to certain situations. You know what I mean?
So if you have like a specific bias towards any one of these personality types, good for you, but maybe keep it to yourself. Because at the end of the day, these are all defense mechanisms. These are all survival tactics. And so, we're all just trying to survive here.
Yes.
So, let's have some humility for everybody.
Yes. Right now, you have the basic knowledge of each trait and everything, and I think it's just important to start here and discover yourself from here.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for following us on this adventure through the Enneagram. We can talk about this over and over again for hours and hours. So if you guys want us to talk about anything specifically, comment, DM us exactly what you want us to talk about, and we will talk about it. But one thing that we want to leave you guys with is knowing that your Enneagram is not your destiny. It's not who you're meant to be. It's just your pattern. The pattern that you've come into in order to survive, in order to feel comfortable moving throughout this world. So once you see your pattern, you have the ability and the opportunity to change it. So that's all that we're trying to do for you guys. And just having more humility for the people in your life. Now that you know this deeper sense of where people are coming from, maybe you'll give them a little easier of a time. And maybe a little bit more understanding.
Yep.
I want to thank my bestie Nadia again for coming on this episode and bestowing her knowledge on this. We have really done a lot of research and a lot of introspection when it comes to the Enneagram. So we're happy to finally have an opportunity to share it with all of you. So we hope you enjoyed it.
Yes.
Please comment down more episode ideas that you would like to see, what you would like to hear on Life is But a Dream. I want to thank you guys again. If you're watching, if you're listening, thank you so much. You are the reason why I'm here. You're the reason why we both are here. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the show. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this podcast, share this with anyone that you feel like could benefit from it. That means everyone. So yeah, I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening again. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.